Hello and welcome to another episode of Raucus Attempts Esports. As always, I hope you're all doing okay. This week we're in Cheshire, in England, in Oulton Park, nice scenic racetrack. Another new one for me. I started off the week, as always, with my bumps and grinds. This time, trying a little bit too hard to take third place here in my first race of the week, and that put me out because I also stupidly misjudged turning round the car and drove straight into the tyre barrier. So that was the end of that for me. Also managed to beach myself there, which I didn't realise was possible. So I learnt a few things in the first race. Then went on to do a little bit better. I think I finished 11th in the first race of the week. Went on then to finish 5th. So I'm going to stay with this for an entire lap. It's quite a tough crowd. I've been gradually increasing my competition level, and that means that I kind of increase the grid difficulty as well to people on a similar kind of level. So this race, everyone seemed to be pretty much on par with me. It was tough racing all the way to the end. There wasn't many position changes. I think someone runs off here, just gives me a place, and I believe I trade places with the car behind in the red at some point as well. But it's a pretty fast, full-on circuit, really, Oulton Park. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of good feel coming through from the car. There's a lot of cambers, so you're kind of always bedding the car into a track, and I'm really starting to get a feel for it now. It's coming from the Mazda MX-5, which you start out in, and I have just done a charity event over the weekend with Excite energy drinks for the NHS heroes, and going back to the MX-5 after these, it's really strange. I suppose it's power steering, but you just have so little feel from the car, whereas these kind of very mechanical feeling, kind of super fast buckets on wheels seem to, every little knuckle, every bit of concrete, you can feel that coming through the wheel, and that suits me. I quite like that. So I continue to have kind of increased from where I started at the beginning of all of this journey, consistently fighting in the top 5, which is where I want to be. This, the penultimate week, I did want a good result, so I've not been slacking. But yeah, these guys, no couch potatoes. There wasn't really any way through. I just wanted to maintain a good kind of banked performance for the week, really. Because again, I didn't want to run over the 4 races. As I've said before, it takes a lot more time if you cross that threshold, and I had other things going on this week. I had a race to prepare for, a livery to make, and I'll do a video on that in the future. You can go to Alpha Live and you can watch the entire commentated race. I don't appear in it that much, as I am hardly a pro driver, but still I'd recommend going to see it and donating to their link if you've got the time. I had a really good time. It was great fun, and I've as a result I've signed up with the UK Motorsports F3 competition / league this year. So for 2020 up until November, which is when I believe the final races and the awards are announced, I'll be racing in an even faster division than this, which I'm very much looking forward to. And I've got to go and do my first quali this afternoon. So once this is recorded, I've got to get cracking. But this is third race. Nice Dunder Mifflin car there, referencing the American Office, one of my favourites. Came back to pick up a pretty reasonable result here. So you can see I span out at the beginning of the race, and that took me right to the back of the pack, and I've got to march my way all the way through. Obviously there is some crashes, it's not all my work, people do some of it for me, but it was an exciting race. It was just punch after punch. 2 races left, I knew I had to bring the result home, and I wasn't slow round here. I wasn't by far the quickest, but I was on pace with the leaders most of the time, bar 1 or 2 races. I think the leader in this race just completely vanished away, so I didn't really get much chance to catch him. But Skippy's drag is quite important, so actually coming from the back and always having a car to follow, it does help you track back to the front quite quickly, as long as those spaces aren't too far in between. But I'm kind of slingshotting from car to car as much as I can. Overtaking around the outside here is really quite scary, but I managed to make that stick. If this had been the last race of the week, I probably wouldn't have pushed some of the overtakes that I do. Overtaking around the outside here, that's pretty okay. If they've cut that far in, they're going pretty slowly. If you were going as quick as you should be around there and you cut that so fine, you're probably going to spin out. Again, there's another person taking themselves out of the way for me. Always nice to see. This kind of backstretch here, really bumpy. If you're coming in hot close to another car, if you get your braking point wrong, it's why I did quite well there. I got quite a few overtakes because everyone gets so cautious, but it is not an easy place to pull it off. But it depends who you're racing, because there are some drivers that just won't make it easy for you, even if you're faster paced. Some people will just move out of the way and do their own race rather than potentially ham it up and kind of cost you both your places, which is the nice thing about iRacing. You do come across that quite a lot. But yeah, I'm very much of the opinion that I don't always want to put the car in a dangerous place just to get the pass done. But I guess that's one of the things that will come with experience and skill is the knowledge of how far you can go to pull things off. It is always down to the other driver, but if you can execute it fast enough without them getting a chance to react, put your car in the right places to spook them or to force them into an error, those are the things you've got to kind of just make instinctual decisions on. This is me worked all the way back up to 3rd position, so this guy's no couch potato. We go toe to toe for a good few laps. I've cut some of them out here just to speed the process up a little bit. But yeah, into here you want to be tucking really close into the left hand side, wheels onto that red marking on the inside there, which is the apex. I didn't manage to hit it all that regularly, but I came close enough to keep my pace up. Down here on the back stretch, again, quite bumpy. There's a very specific scrub point for speed, which if you overdo it a little bit, can just completely take you off track, which is not ideal. But yeah, into this final bit of the lap, getting a good braking point in this kind of vague right-hand corner is quite difficult. But I've been sizing him up for a few laps. I knew he was good there, but I knew if I just took a little bit of a bite out of that inside, I might get past him, and luckily I did. He did stick with me, but I did manage to keep a good distance to him. I think I managed to break the toe eventually, but yeah, I managed to make it stick. Always a little bit nervous when you just passed, because you know that suddenly they've got time to size you up, and you never know quite what someone's going to do. I actually prefer to be behind than to be in front most of the time, just because I can control to a degree what happens. You never know if someone's going to throw one up the inside a bit too hot and just take yourself out and them. Nice ragdoll physics in the background there. In preparation for the race coming on this last weekend, I had to make a livery, so I had to look into some of the options. I haven't done it for this car yet, but I've turned on trading paints, so I could actually access other people's custom paint jobs that were outside of the kind of basic templates. So starting to see some quite nice additions coming through, and I've selected a couple just for the meantime. So next week's I'll probably race in the Marlborough colours until I've made my Raucus Caucus one. But it's nice that the option's there. It's actually not too difficult to set up once you've gone through, made your account. So I'd recommend using trading paints if you're doing iRacing and you haven't cottoned onto that yet. So this is probably my best recovery ever. I had lost the lead. This chap here in front was very, very quick. There wasn't much chance I was catching him on pure pace. I think he must have been gagging for a win because he was on the ragged edge. So I was capitalising on a few mistakes. I traded first and second with him purely just on his crashes alone, but every time he would come back and take it back again. And I wasn't going too close to him because I didn't really want to wind up in a wall. But yeah, I came back with a second and a third at the end of that week. So narrowing down ever closer to the top 100, 30 places to go in this final week at Jules Villeneuve. So hopefully we'll crack it. But thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for some of the specials I'll be posting up, and I'll see you after the big final week.